The council chamber was packed. Every seat was filled and many delegates stood in the back. Hyunwoo stood at the podium, his report displayed on the holographic screen behind him. He had been presenting for an hour, and his throat was getting dry. To summarize, he said, "We observed humans for 3 weeks. In that time, we saw them demonstrate remarkable problem-solving, strong emotional bonds, and a consistent pattern of helping others even at personal cost. Yes, they retain the traits that worried the architects, but they have also developed sophisticated moral frameworks that guide when and how they use those traits." A delegate interrupted him. "But they still fight wars. Your report mentions ongoing military conflicts on Earth." "Small ones, yes," Hyunwoo admitted, "but nothing compared to their past. Their global war 80 years ago killed millions. Since then, they've created international laws to prevent such conflicts. They have organizations dedicated to peace. They're trying and they're improving." Dayun stood up from her seat. She had been quiet during most of the presentation. "The question before us is simple. Do we make contact with humanity?" Observer Hyunwoo recommends yes, but this is not a decision we can make lightly. We need to hear from our experts. Yejin, you've studied human psychology. What do you think? Yejin was a small woman with large eyes and a gentle voice. She worked in xenopsychology, studying how different species think and communicate. She stood and walked to the podium, nodding at Hyunwoo as he stepped aside. "I've spent the past 3 weeks analyzing human communication patterns, cultural practices, and psychological profiles," Yejin began. "Humans value honesty. They have a saying, 'The truth will set you free.' They become angry when they feel deceived. If we continue hiding from them and they discover we've been watching them for 200 years, they will not react well." "So you recommend contact?" someone asked. "Yes, but carefully," Yejin said. "Humans respond poorly to condescension. They don't like being treated as children or inferiors. They respond well to directness and respect. My recommendation is this. We approach them openly, explain why we've been cautious, and share the architect report with them. We show them the truth even if it's uncomfortable." "Show them a report that calls them extinction-class threats?" Krivok sounded shocked. "That's your plan?" "Yes," Yejin said firmly. "Because humans appreciate honesty, even brutal honesty. They'll understand why we were scared. And if we trust them with the truth, they might trust us in return." Dayun nodded thoughtfully. "This is a good recommendation. If we agree to make contact, we'll do it with full transparency. Now the question is where and when. We need to choose carefully. Sungmin, what does the military recommend?" Sungmin stood up. He looked like he hadn't slept much. "My recommendation is neutral territory. Not Earth, where they have all the advantages. Not one of our worlds, where we have all the advantages. We propose a meeting in space, perhaps near their Mars colony. Each side brings one small ship. We limit the number of people present. Keep it simple and non-threatening." "I agree," Dayun said. "If we proceed, we'll arrange a meeting at a neutral location. Now we must vote. All in favor of initiating first contact with humanity?" The vote took 30 minutes. The chamber was divided. Many delegates were still afraid. Many wanted more time to prepare. But slowly the votes came in. The result was close but clear. The council would make first contact with humanity. Dayun stood and addressed the chamber. "The motion passes. We will contact humanity within the next week. I will lead the diplomatic delegation. We'll send a message to Earth today. May wisdom guide us all." On Earth, Captain Young-soo sat in his office at the Space Defense Command headquarters. He was reviewing reports when his assistant rushed in. "Sir, you need to see this. We just received a signal." "It's not from any human source." Young-soo felt his heart race. "Show me." The message appeared on his screen. It was in multiple languages: English, Mandarin, Spanish, Arabic, and others. The message was simple. "Greetings to the people of Earth. We are the Galactic Council, a federation of spacefaring civilizations. We have watched your planet for many years. We know you have recently developed faster-than-light travel. We wish to speak with you. We come in peace. We come with honesty. We should have come sooner. We are sorry for waiting. Will you meet with us?" Young-soo read the message 3 times. Then he reached for his phone and called the global president's emergency line. "Ma'am, you're going to want to see this. We're not alone, and they want to talk." 3 days later, Dr. Suman stood in the conference room of Earth's lunar base. She was a scientist, not a soldier. But she had been chosen as part of Earth's delegation because she was calm and curious. and good at communicating with different types of people. Captain Young-soo stood beside her, in full uniform. He looked nervous. I still can't believe this is happening. Real aliens. After all these years of searching, they were there all along. And they were hiding from us, Sumin said. I want to know why. Maybe they'll tell us, Young-soo said. The human delegation boarded a small shuttle and flew to the meeting coordinates near Mars. The council ship was already there, a sleek vessel that looked nothing like human designs. It was beautiful and strange. The two ships docked carefully. An airlock opened between them. Young-soo and Sumin floated through the airlock into the council ship. Artificial gravity pulled them gently to the floor on the other side. Daeun stood waiting for them. Behind her were Hyunwoo, Jiwon, and Yejin. All of them looked as nervous as the humans felt. Welcome, Daeun said in perfect English. Thank you for meeting with us. I am Daeun, diplomatic representative of the Galactic Council. Young-soo straightened his uniform. I am Captain Young-soo of Earth's Space Defense Command. This is Dr. Sumin, our chief science advisor. We have many questions, I'm sure you do, Daeun said gently, and we will answer them all. But first we must apologize. Please sit. This will take some time to explain. They sat around a conference table. Hyunwoo noticed that Young-soo kept his hand near his sidearm. The human captain was ready for danger even while talking about peace. The architects had been right about that instinct. Daeun began the story. She explained about the ancient architect civilization. She explained about the report. She explained about the 50,000-year-old observation that labeled humans as an extinction class threat. Young-soo's face went from shocked to confused to angry. You've been hiding from us because of a report written when we lived in caves? Yes, Daeun said simply. We were afraid. Afraid of us? Sumin laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. We're the ones who should be afraid. You have ships that can cross the galaxy. You have technology beyond anything we can imagine. And you were afraid of us? Jiwon spoke up for the first time. May I show you the report? I think you should read it yourselves. She pushed a data tablet across the table. Young-soo and Sumin read through it silently. Their expressions changed as they read. Shock, confusion, understanding. They thought we were monsters. Young-soo said quietly. They thought you were dangerous. Hyunwoo corrected. There's a difference. Sumin looked up from the report. This describes humans who lived 50,000 years ago. We're different now. We have laws, ethics, international cooperation. We're not the same species the architects observed. We know, Daeun said. That's why we're here. We've been observing you for 200 years. We've seen your progress. We've seen you grow and change, and we decided it was time to stop hiding and start talking. Young-soo leaned back in his chair. He was processing everything. So what happens now? Do we join your council? Do we have to follow your rules? That's up to humanity, Daeun said. We're offering you probationary membership. You would have access to council technology and knowledge. In return, you would need to follow basic council laws. No wars of conquest. No genocide. No slavery. Protection of sentient life. Those are already our laws, Sumin pointed out. Then it should be easy, Daeun smiled. Young-soo wasn't smiling. What's the catch? There's always a catch, Yejin answered this time. The catch is that many species in the council are still afraid of you. They've read the architect report. They know about your history of warfare. You'll need to prove you can coexist peacefully with other civilizations. Think of it as a test period. How long? Young-soo asked. As long as it takes, Daeun said. Could be months. Could be years. It depends on how well things go. Sumin looked at Young-soo. They seemed to communicate silently. Finally, Young-soo nodded. We'll need to discuss this with Earth's government, Young-soo said. But speaking personally, I think we should accept. We've been alone for so long. We searched for neighbors and found none. Now we discover we've had neighbors all along. Neighbors who were too scared to say hello. He smiled, but it was sad. That's actually kind of funny. Funny? Jiwon asked. We were terrified that aliens existed and would be hostile, Sumin explained. We built weapons and defenses. We made plans for alien invasion. And all this time the aliens existed and they were terrified of us. Hyunwoo laughed. He couldn't help it. The absurdity of the situation hit him. We've all been afraid of each other. Young-soo started laughing too. Then Sumin. Then everyone at the table was laughing, the tension breaking like a dam. The observation ship hung in space above Earth's moon. Hyunwoo stood on the bridge staring at the blue planet below. It looked so peaceful from here. He tried to imagine dangerous Stone Age hunters down there and couldn't do it. "Are you nervous?" a voice asked behind him. Hyunwoo turned to see Jae-hyun, the team's human culture specialist. She had spent months studying every human broadcast she could find. She probably knew more about humans than any other council member. "Very nervous," Hyunwoo admitted. "You?" "Terrified," Jae-hyun said cheerfully. "But also excited. We're going to be the first to really see humans up close. Well, close-ish. We'll stay in orbit with stealth shields active." Bora joined them at the window. She was the team's medical officer with gentle hands and worried eyes. "I've been reading about human medicine. Did you know they perform surgery by cutting their bodies open, and they inject chemicals directly into their blood? It's so violent." "Everything about them is violent," came a melodic voice. Ixtal floated over to join them. As an energy-based being, Ixtal didn't walk but drifted through the air like smoke. "Even their entertainment is violent. I watched some of their movies. They're always fighting or exploding things." Hyunwoo smiled. "The architects would say that proves they're dangerous. Or maybe it proves they use fiction to work out their violent urges instead of acting on them," Jae-hyun suggested. "Humans have something called catharsis. They watch violence so they don't commit violence. It's actually quite clever." The ship's computer beeped. A message appeared on the display. Hyunwoo read it and felt his stomach drop. "What is it?" Bo-ra asked. "We just intercepted a human distress signal," Hyunwoo said. "A ship called the Frontier Explorer is stranded near Jupiter. Their life support is failing. They have 2 days of oxygen left." Jae-hyun quickly accessed the human communication networks. "I'm seeing responses. Earth is sending a rescue ship called the Rapid Response, but it's 3 days away, even at maximum speed. That means the stranded crew will die before rescue arrives," Bora said quietly. Ixtal glowed brighter, which meant agitation. "We should help them. We can reach Jupiter in 6 hours. "We can save them," Hyunwoo shook his head. "Our orders are to observe only. No contact. If we reveal ourselves to save them, it could cause panic on Earth. The Council would be furious. So we just watch them die?" Bora looked horrified. "I didn't say that," Hyunwoo said quickly. "I'm just saying we need to think carefully about this. Let me contact the Council for guidance." He sent an emergency message back to the Council headquarters. Then they waited. The minutes felt like hours. Jae-hyun was monitoring human communications. The stranded crew is trying to stay calm. They're sending messages to their families. One of them is joking about the situation. He said, "At least the view is nice. Jupiter is pretty from here." "They're joking about dying." Ixtal asked. "Humans use humor to deal with fear," Jae-hyun explained. "It's actually a really common human trait. When things are worse, they make jokes." Bora was reading something on her tablet. Her eyes went wide. "Oh no, what?" Hyunwoo asked. "The stranded crew. They're doing something. They're putting themselves into medically induced hypothermia. It will slow their breathing and reduce their oxygen consumption. They think it might buy them enough time for rescue to arrive." "That's brilliant," Jae-hyun said. "That's insane," Bo-ra countered. "Induced hypothermia is incredibly dangerous. They could die from the cold before they run out of oxygen. They could suffer brain damage. They could have heart failure. But they might survive," Hyunwoo said. He was starting to understand humans a little better. "They have 2 bad choices. Definitely die from lack of oxygen, or maybe die from hypothermia but maybe survive." They chose maybe. "They're adapting," Ixtal observed. "Under pressure. In real time." This is what the architects meant about humans not accepting death. They watched through the ship's long-range sensors as the crew of the Frontier Explorer prepared for hypothermia. The humans moved efficiently, checking each other's vital signs, preparing the equipment, recording final messages just in case. The last message from the ship's captain was simple. "We're going to sleep now. Wake us up if you get here in time. If not, tell our families we love them." Then the signals from the ship went quiet. Hyunwoo still hadn't received a response from the Council. He paced the bridge, frustrated. "Why aren't they responding?" "We need guidance. Maybe they're debating," Jae-hyun suggested. "This is a big decision." Suddenly, alarms started blaring on their ship. Jae-hyun rushed to the communications console. "I'm picking up another signal." "It's the rescue ship, the Rapid Response. They're still days away," Bora said. "No." Jae-hyun's voice was strange. "They're not. They're almost to Jupiter. They'll arrive in 6 hours. That's impossible, Hyunwoo said. 3 days ago, they were 3 days away. Jae-hyun brought up the data on the main screen. They've been pushing their engines beyond safety limits. Way beyond. Their engine temperature is critical. Their hull is showing stress fractures from the speed. They're burning through fuel at an unsustainable rate. Bo-ra gasped. They're going to destroy their own ship to get there faster. They're going to save their crew, Hyunwoo corrected. He watched the data stream in. The rapid response was racing through space at speeds that should tear it apart, but somehow it was holding together. This is stupid, Ixtal said. They're risking 6 lives to save 3 lives. That's not logical. No, Hyunwoo said softly. But it's very human. They don't abandon their people, even if it means risking everything. They watched for the next 6 hours. The rapid response shook and groaned but kept flying. The engineering crew worked constantly, patching problems, rerouting power, doing everything they could to keep the ship together. Finally, the rescue ship reached Jupiter. It pulled alongside the Frontier Explorer and connected an emergency docking tube. The rescue team moved quickly, pulling the hibernating crew members to safety. All 3 survived. The celebration on the rescue ship was loud and emotional. Humans were crying and hugging and laughing all at once. The captain of the rapid response gave a speech. We leave no one behind. That's not who we are. That's not what we do. Every life matters. Every person is worth saving. Bora was crying too, even though she was watching from orbit. They really care about each other. They risked everything to save 3 people. They did more than risk, Jae-hyun said quietly. She was looking at the damage reports from the rapid response. Their ship is critically damaged. They don't have enough fuel to get home. They're stranded now, too. Hyunwoo felt sick. They saved 3 lives, but now 9 people are stranded? Yes, Jae-hyun said. But wait. There's another message coming from Earth. They're sending another rescue ship, and supply ships, and repair crews. The whole planet is mobilizing to bring them home. Ixtal glowed bright yellow, which meant amazement. They're not angry that the rapid response took foolish risks. They're celebrating them as heroes. Because to humans, saving lives is more important than following safe procedures, Hyunwoo said. He was beginning to see the pattern. The architects saw this as dangerous. Humans who don't calculate risk properly. Humans who act on emotion rather than logic. But maybe it's not dangerous. Maybe it's beautiful. A message finally arrived from the council. Hyunwoo read it and sighed. The council says we should not interfere. We are to continue observations only. They're still debating the first contact question. What do you think? Bora asked. Should we contact them? Hyunwoo watched Earth turn slowly below them. He thought about humans who walked prey to death. Humans who turned wolves into friends. Humans who climbed impossible cliffs just because they were there. Humans who risked 9 lives to save 3. Humans who made jokes while dying. Humans who never gave up, never stopped trying, never accepted defeat. Yes, he said finally. We should contact them. Not because they're safe. They're not safe. The architects were right about that. Humans are dangerous, but they're dangerous in the way a fire is dangerous. Fire can burn down your house, yes, but it can also keep you warm and cook your food and light your way in the dark. Humans are the same. They have this incredible energy, this drive, this refusal to quit. We can fear it or we can learn from it. The council won't like that opinion, Jae-hyun warned. I know, Hyunwoo said, but they sent me here to observe and report. So I'm reporting. Humans should not be feared. They should be welcomed. With caution, yes. With care, absolutely. But welcomed. Ixtal floated closer to the window. You know what I find most interesting? The architect's report said humans can't be controlled, only contained. But watching them today, I realized something. Humans don't need to be controlled. They control themselves. They have laws and ethics and moral codes. They're dangerous to their enemies, yes, but to their friends they're loyal to the point of self-destruction. So we should try to be their friends, Bora said. Exactly. Hyunwoo agreed. Now we just have to convince the council. The council chamber was much larger than the meeting room. Hyunwoo stood near the back, watching as hundreds of delegates from dozens of species filled the seats. The news about humans had spread quickly through the government. Now everyone wanted answers. Dayun, a senior diplomat with silver skin and kind eyes, stood at the central podium. She had been chosen to lead the discussion about the human situation. Beside her stood Minji, an intelligence officer who looked nervous. "Order, please," Dawn called out. The chamber slowly grew quiet. "We are here to discuss the discovery of an ancient architect report concerning a species called humans from the planet Earth. I will let Intelligence Officer Minji present the current data we have on this species." Minji stepped forward. Her hands trembled slightly as she activated the holographic display. An image of Earth appeared, a beautiful blue and green planet. "This is Earth, third planet of the Sol system," Minji began. 223 years ago, we detected the first radio signals from this planet. The signals contained music, news broadcasts, and various communications. We confirmed the presence of intelligent life. However, when we checked our restricted system database, we found the Sol system marked with an ancient quarantine order. We chose to observe but not contact. "Why didn't you inform the council?" Someone shouted from the audience. Minji looked uncomfortable. The quarantine order was very old. We assumed it was outdated. Many systems have old restrictions that no longer apply. We didn't think it was important enough to bring to the full council. We were wrong, Dayun took over. What Minji is saying is that intelligence services have been watching Earth for over 2 centuries. In that time, humans went from basic radio to landing on their moon in just 70 years. They went from their first airplane to spacecraft in 66 years. They went from basic computers to artificial intelligence in 50 years. Their technological progress is faster than any species in council records. The chamber erupted in worried whispers. Dayun waited for quiet before continuing. 40 years ago, humans established their first permanent colony on their moon. 20 years ago, they colonized Mars, the 4th planet in their system. 10 years ago, they built stations near Jupiter and Saturn. 3 months ago, they tested their first faster-than-light drive. It worked. Humans can now travel between stars. The whispers became shouts. Some delegates stood up. One tall reptilian ambassador named Krivok raised his voice above the others. "Why are we only hearing about this now? Humans have FTL capability, and nobody thought to warn the council?" Minji spoke up, her voice stronger now. "Because we've been hiding it. For 200 years, every time humans sent a signal toward other stars, we blocked it or redirected it. Every time they aimed their telescopes at council worlds, we made sure they saw nothing. We've been using stealth satellites around Earth to monitor them and make sure they don't see us. The intelligence community has been actively concealing evidence of alien life from humanity." The chamber exploded in angry voices. Dayun had to bang her signal rod 3 times to restore order. "Why?" someone demanded. "Why hide from them?" "Because of the ancient report," Minji answered. "The architects labeled humans as extinction-class threat. We were afraid. We didn't know what would happen if humans learned they weren't alone in the universe. Would they panic? Would they become aggressive? Would they try to expand rapidly and threaten our worlds? We didn't know, so we hid." Krivok stood up fully. He was tall and covered in green scales, his species' natural armor. "My people have legends about the ancient ones who came before. Stories passed down through generations. One legend speaks of creatures that the old ones feared. Creatures that never stopped hunting. We always thought it was just a story to scare children. Now I wonder if those legends were about humans." Jiwon stood up from her seat. "May I speak?" Dayun nodded. "Senior xenobiologist Jiwon has studied the ancient report extensively. Please share your thoughts." Jiwon walked to the front. She looked tired but determined. "I've spent 2 days reading every page of the architect report. Yes, it paints humans as dangerous. Yes, their evolutionary traits are concerning, but I've also been studying their modern culture through their broadcasts and data networks. Humans have changed. They have laws against violence. They have peace treaties. They have art, music, philosophy. They debate ethics and morality. They are not the Stone Age hunters the architects observed. But they still have those traits," Krivok argued. "You can't evolve out of your nature in 50,000 years." "No," Jiwon agreed. "They still have those traits. But they control them. They direct them. Humans use their persistence for science now, not just hunting. They use their problem-solving for technology. They use their pack bonding to form global communities. Yes, they're still dangerous, but they're also capable of incredible things." Sungmin stood up. "I agree with Jiwon that humans have advanced culturally, but we must not forget the military implications. I've been studying human history through their databases. Humans fight wars constantly. In the past 1,000 years, humans have fought over 15,000 wars on their single planet. Some of these wars killed millions of their own people. The chamber went silent at that number. However, Sungmin continued, I also noticed something else. The time between wars has been getting longer. The last major global conflict ended 80 years ago. Since then, humans have mostly maintained peace. They still have conflicts, yes, but they're working toward something better. They're trying to overcome their violent nature. Dayun spoke again. This brings us to the question we must answer today. Humans now have FTL capability. They're exploring nearby star systems. We've detected 3 human exploration vessels in the past month alone. They're sending peaceful greeting messages to any civilization that might be listening. Eventually, they will find one of our worlds. When that happens, what do? A small blue-skinned delegate raised her hand. We could continue hiding. Make sure they never find us. That's not sustainable, Minji said. Humans are actively searching. They're building more ships every year. They're expanding in all directions. We can't hide forever. Then we attack them before they become too powerful, someone suggested. The chamber erupted again. Many delegates shouted in anger at the suggestion. Absolutely not, Dayun said firmly. The council does not start wars. We are a peaceful federation. We will not attack a species for crimes they haven't committed. Hyunwoo surprised himself by speaking up. His voice was quiet but clear in the sudden silence. What if we just talk to them? Everyone turned to look at him. Hyunwoo felt his face grow hot. Explain, Dawon said gently. Hyunwoo stood up slowly. What if we make first contact ourselves? On our terms. We can approach them peacefully, explain why we've been hiding, and see how they respond. If the architects were right and humans are dangerous, well, they're already out. Hiding won't help. But if Ji-won is right and humans have changed, then maybe we can be friends. Maybe we can guide them as they join the galactic community. Krivok made a sound that might have been a laugh. You want to befriend the species that terrified the architects? The species that turned wolves into pets and climbs mountains just because they're there? Yes, Hyunwoo said, more confident now. Because the alternative is living in fear forever. And because humans might surprise us, Daeun smiled. I like this young archivist's thinking. We need more information before we decide anything. I propose we send an observation team to Earth. A small group that can observe humans up close in their current time, not 50,000 years ago. They will gather data and report back. Then we can make an informed decision about first contact. The vote took an hour. Many delegates were scared. Many wanted to keep hiding. But in the end, the majority agreed. An observation team would go to Earth. Dayun looked at Hyunwoo. You found the report. You suggested observation. Would you be willing to lead this mission? Hyunwoo felt his heart race. Ji-won grabbed his arm. Don't you dare volunteer, she whispered. Hyunwoo stood up anyway. Yes, I'll do it. Ji-won put her face in her hands. You're going to get eaten by humans. That's not funny, Hyunwoo said. I'm not joking, Ji-won replied. The archive room smelled like dust and old metal. Hyunwoo sneezed for the 3rd time that hour as he moved another box of ancient data crystals. He had been working in the Galactic Council archives for 2 years now, and he thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. The crystal fell from behind a broken shelf. It hit the floor with a soft clink that echoed in the empty room. Hyunwoo picked it up and wiped away the thick layer of dust. The crystal was black, which was strange. Most archive crystals were blue or green. This one was completely black and felt cold in his hand. He walked to the nearest reading station and inserted the crystal. The screen flickered to life, but instead of showing the usual archive menu, red warning symbols filled the display. Big letters appeared in the old language of the architects, the civilization that built the council thousands of years ago. Hyunwoo leaned closer to read the translation. Containment Protocol Alpha, highest security level, authorized personnel only. His hands started shaking. He had never seen a containment protocol file before. These were supposed to be stored in the high-security vault, not hidden behind a broken shelf in the old archive room. He should report this immediately. He should call his supervisor. He should definitely not open the file. He opened the file. The first page made his breath catch in his throat. At the top, in letters that seemed to pulse with warning, was the title, Species Assessment Report, Sol 3 Indigenous Sapients. Recommendation, do not contact, threat level, extinction class. Extinction class? Hyunwoo had studied xenobiology in school. He knew the threat classifications. Extinction class was the highest level. It meant a species that could potentially end all life in the galaxy. There were only 3 species ever given that classification, and all of them had destroyed themselves before reaching space travel. But this report was about a species from Sol 3. Hyunwoo knew that system. It was isolated in a quiet arm of the galaxy. The Council had marked it as off-limits centuries ago, but no one remembered why. Now he knew. There was something on the 3rd planet of that system. Something dangerous. His communicator buzzed. It was Ji-won, the senior xenobiologist. She was his friend and mentor, one of the few people who didn't treat him like a stupid kid just because he was young. Hyunwoo, are you still in the archives? It's past midnight. Her voice came through clearly. Ji-won, I found something. Can you come here? Right now? Hyunwoo tried to keep his voice steady. 20 minutes later, Ji-won arrived wearing her sleeping clothes and looking annoyed. The annoyance disappeared the moment she saw the screen. Oh no, she whispered. Where did you find this? Behind a shelf. It just fell out. Hyunwoo stepped aside so she could read better. Ji-won's face went pale as she scrolled through the document. Her 4 eyes, common for her species, widened with each page. This can't be real. The date on this file says it's over 50,000 Earth years old. The architects surveyed this species when they were still primitive. What does it say about them? Hyunwoo asked. Ji-won was quiet for a long moment reading. Then she started reading out loud. Species designation, humans. Homeworld, Earth, 3rd planet of Sol system. Technology level at time of survey, Stone Age. Physical characteristics, bipedal, bilateral symmetry, carbon-based. Average height 1.7 meters. Average lifespan 30 years. That doesn't sound scary, Hyunwoo said. Wait, Ji-won held up one hand. Listen to this part. Behavioral assessment. This species shows concerning evolutionary traits. They are persistence hunters, capable of tracking prey for days without rest. They do not stop. When injured, they continue. When exhausted, they continue. When logic dictates retreat, they push forward. We observed one human track a wounded animal for 6 days across difficult terrain. The human had a broken foot. He caught the animal. Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. That's not normal hunting behavior. No, it's not, Ji-won agreed. She kept reading. More concerning, humans form pack bonds not only with their own species but with other predators. We observed them domesticating wolves, turning their competition into allies. This suggests an ability to convert threats into assets. We have never seen this before. The 2 of them stood in silence for a moment. Outside the window, the 3 moons of Veltaris Prime cast strange shadows across the archive room. There's more, Ji-won said quietly. The psychological profile. Listen. Humans possess a unique trait we have termed spite. They will harm themselves if it means harming an enemy. They will die to ensure their opponent does not win. They treat impossible situations not as reasons to surrender, but as challenges to overcome. When faced with certain death, they become more dangerous, not less. That's insane, Hyunwoo said. That's the point. Ji-won turned to look at him. The architects thought so too. Look at the final recommendation. She scrolled to the last page. The words were clear and simple. After careful study, we recommend permanent quarantine of the Sol system. Humans must not be allowed to develop space travel. If they escape their planet, they will spread across the galaxy. They do not have the psychology of a peaceful species. They have the psychology of an apex predator. Current threat level, low. Potential threat level, extinction class. Our conclusion: this species cannot be controlled. They can only be contained. Do not let the humans out. The room felt very cold suddenly. Hyunwoo looked at Ji-won. This is 50,000 years old. Do you think humans are still on their planet? Ji-won's face was grim. There's only one way to find out. We need to check the current survey data for the Sol system. She pulled out her communicator and made a call. Thalarix, I need you to pull the latest scan data for the Sol system. Yes, I know it's restricted. Use my authorization code. I'll wait. They waited in tense silence. After 5 minutes that felt like hours, Ji-won's communicator buzzed. What did he say? Hyunwoo asked. Ji-won's hands were shaking as she looked at the message. Her voice was barely a whisper when she spoke. The humans left their planet 200 years ago. They've colonized their entire solar system, and 3 months ago they achieved faster-than-light travel. She looked up at Hyunwoo with fear in her eyes. The humans are out, and nobody told the council. The emergency meeting room was full of worried faces. Yunwoo sat at the end of the long table, feeling out of place among so many important people. Ji-won sat beside him, looking tired. She had not slept since they found the report 2 days ago. Across from them sat Sung-min, a military strategist with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had been studying the ancient report all night. His face was troubled. "I need to make sure I understand this correctly," Sung-min said slowly. He held up a datapad showing the architect's report. "This document says humans evolved as persistence hunters. Can you explain what that means, Ji-won?" Ji-won nodded and stood up. A holographic display appeared in the center of the table, showing an image of early humans. Most predators hunt by being faster or stronger than their prey. They chase, they catch, they kill. Quick and simple. Humans are different. Humans are not the fastest runners. They are not the strongest fighters. But they have something more frightening. They never stop. She changed the image. It now showed a human chasing an animal across a desert. A human can run for hours in the heat. The animal they hunt runs faster, yes, but it gets tired quickly. It stops to rest. The human does not stop. The animal runs again. The human follows. This continues for hours, sometimes days. Eventually, the animal's body gives up. It lies down, too exhausted to run anymore. Then the human, still walking, still moving, catches it. Sung-min looked disturbed. "The human just walks the animal to death?" "Yes," Ji-won said simply. "Humans evolved to outlast their prey. Every other species in the galaxy evolved either fight or flight responses. When danger comes, you fight back or you run away. Humans evolved both. They fight and they keep fighting. They run and they keep running. They do not have an off switch." Hyunwoo raised his hand nervously. The report mentioned something about humans and wolves. "What was that about?" Ji-won changed the hologram again. Now it showed a human sitting beside a wolf. "This is perhaps the most concerning discovery the architects made. Wolves were competitors to humans. Both species hunted the same prey. In nature, competitors usually fight until one species wins or leaves. Humans did something different. They made friends with the wolves." "Made friends?" Sung-min repeated. "With predators?" "The architects watched it happen over generations," Ji-won explained. Humans fed wolves scraps of meat. The wolves started following human hunting groups. Eventually, wolves started helping humans hunt. In return, humans protected wolf cubs and fed them. Over thousands of years, wolves changed. They became dogs, loyal to humans. The architects wrote in their notes, "These humans domesticated their competition. They turned a threat into a tool." The room was very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what that meant. Sung-min spoke up again. "The psychological profile in this report is what worries me most. Can you explain the concept of spite that the architects observed?" Ji-won's expression grew dark. "Spite is when you hurt yourself to hurt an enemy. Most species in the galaxy value their own survival above all else. If fighting costs too much, they retreat. They surrender. They make peace. Humans are different. The architects observed human tribes going to war. They saw humans continue fighting even when victory was impossible. They saw humans destroy their own villages rather than let enemies take them." One architect wrote, "We watched a wounded human warrior fight with a spear through his chest. He knew he would die. He fought anyway, killing 2 enemies before falling. His goal was not survival. His goal was to take enemies with him." "That's not logical," someone said from down the table. "No," Ji-won agreed. "It's not logical. It's terrifying, because it means humans don't follow the normal rules of warfare. You can't scare them into surrender by showing superior force. You can't negotiate by threatening destruction. They might just choose to drag you down with them." Sung-min was reading something on his datapad. His face had gone pale. "There's a section here about human endurance in combat. It says humans can function with injuries that would kill or incapacitate most species. Is that confirmed?" Ji-won nodded. "The architects did extensive biological studies. Humans have incredible pain tolerance. They produce natural chemicals that dull pain during stress. Their bodies can continue working even with severe damage. The report documents humans fighting with broken bones, deep wounds, and massive blood loss. There is a case study of a human who walked 15 kilometers to get help after losing an arm. Walked 15 kilometers. With one arm." Sung-min put down his datapad. "And these are primitive humans? Stone Age humans?" "Yes," Ji-won said. "The architects surveyed them 50,000 years ago. The humans they observed used stone tools and lived in caves. Imagine what modern humans are capable of. Hyunwoo felt he should contribute something. He cleared his throat nervously. I read the section about human problem solving. The architects seemed really concerned about that too. Show them, Ji-won said gently. Hyunwoo stood up, his legs shaking slightly. He pulled up a page from the report. The architects noticed that humans treat problems differently than other species. Most species, when they encounter an impossible obstacle, they find a different path. Humans see an impossible obstacle as a challenge. The report has examples. There was a cliff that humans needed to climb. It was too high and too steep. Other animals went around. Humans kept trying to climb it. They failed many times. They fell, some died, but they kept trying. Eventually, they invented rope. Then they invented climbing tools. Then they climbed the cliff. They invented technology to overcome the obstacle, Sungmin said thoughtfully. Yes, but that's not the concerning part, Hyunwoo continued. The concerning part is they didn't need to climb the cliff. There was a path around it. They climbed it because it was there. Because it was difficult. The architects wrote, humans are not satisfied with easy solutions. They seek challenges. They create problems to solve. This is not normal behavior. Normal species seek comfort and safety. Humans seek growth through adversity. The room was silent again. Everyone was processing this information. Finally, Sungmin spoke. I've been in military strategy for 40 years. I've studied every major conflict in Council history. And now I'm reading about a species that was this dangerous with stone tools. A species that doesn't stop, doesn't surrender, and treats death as an acceptable outcome if it achieves their goal. He looked around the table. The architects were right to be scared. I'm scared. The question is, what do we do about it? Ji-won sat back down slowly. That's why we called this meeting. We need to decide how to handle this. The humans have faster-than-light travel now. They're exploring space. Eventually, they will find us. Or we can find them first. The report says do not contact, someone pointed out. The report is 50,000 years old, Ji-won countered. Things have changed. Humans have changed. They've built civilizations, developed philosophy, created art. Maybe they're not as dangerous as the architects thought. Sungmin gave her a long look. Or maybe they're exactly as dangerous as the architects thought. But now they have spaceships.